Oh, g'day. How are you? Haere mai, my friend. Welcome to the Big Kids Bedtime Story for another chapter of Freakout Island by Justin Christopher. Remember, Justin Christopher, author on Instagram and Facebook, and justinbrownbooks.com to find out more. If you don't have a copy of it yet, well, quack. Head off to Fishpond and you'll get a paperback copy there. If you want an ebook so you get it much quicker, you can grab that from Amazon. And really, if you haven't caught up with any of the previous chapters, turn this off now and go and look at it on YouTube. I've got all the chapters there. As we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the book, each chapter just gets busier and more amazing. So you'd be best off starting at the beginning. But those of you who have been here right from the beginning and know how crazy it's getting, let me just remind you that our big brave Leo here really is turning out to be a hero, isn't he? Oh my goodness, he's only 10 and he is incredible. Everybody else here, oh my goodness, what Fruit Loops. They're getting themselves into a lot of trouble. Now, Leo snuck out in the middle of the night and listened in on a conversation that was happening over in the Meconium house. Okay, they all stay in the super secret hut. Well, he snuck over to Meconium house and ended up having a conversation with Eden. Well, not Eden, Angela. Having a conversation with Angela. Well, he almost did, but she got called back in. Oh, what had happened, though, is he ended up going to sleep and sleeping in, so the other kids ended up with a happy hour, which he didn't get involved in. They all turned into the crazy things. The squawking parrot, the girl with the bird's nest, and Felix with his brain hanging out, and 5-finger discount going on here with Eden, but they went into overdrive. So not only did Harriet have a bird's nest on her head, it was a massive bird's nest. Dear old Ricky ended up with a beak, wings, and a claw for a foot. Eden was so sticky that her bottom stuck to the toilet. And Felix, well, when you've got your brain in your arms, there's really not else that can go wrong, is there? Not much anyway. Okay. Where are we up to? Chapter 14. Are you nice and comfy? Ready for an exciting story? Let's begin. Leo lay in the super secret hut waiting for darkness to fall, desperately hoping that Angela had remembered their meeting. As he looked around at his friends, his mind drifted back to their first day on the island, when everyone had been so excited they didn't have time to be homesick. But Leo wasn't excited anymore. Now he was just plain scared. Even though he'd gotten used to having a bubble butt, it still had a mind of its own, sometimes when he was on the toilet, others when he tried to squeeze through a door. Sometimes it popped for no reason in the middle of the night. Normally, after happy hour, everybody's bodies returned to normal. Leo's bubble would pop, or at least decrease in size. Felix switched back to being the smartest in the group. Ricky swore using real words instead of deafening squawks, and Harriet's flock of birds fled for the trees, and Eden would pick up a cup without it sticking to her hand. But not this time. Oh no. This time happy hour seemed to be dragging on and on and on. They seemed to be permanently stuck with their problems. Harriet could no longer sleep lying down. With a huge nest on her head, it was impossible for her to rest on her back or even on her side. So instead, she was forced to sleep sitting up, looking like she was wearing a huge helmet of twigs and sticks. Ricky's body had also changed in dastardly ways. Hours later, he still had a beak, 2 wings, and a bird's claw for 1 foot. Everyone thought he was joking when he rocked all the way back to the super secret hut. But then they realized that this was how he talked now, all of the time. And what about poor Felix? How Leo wished his friend had a broken arm, not a broken brain. That was the problem with the nose picker now. Sometimes he was smarter than the smartest teacher, and other times he made no sense at all. Felix thought he was still on a spaceship made of cheeseburgers. But Leo felt most sorry for Eden. She was still glued to the toilet. Chapter 15. Leo returned to his spot beside Meconium House. He crouched over so carefully amid the long prickly grass, placing his ear so close to the fence it was almost touching. Vane and Volga were back, but this time the rest of the Friendly Island staff were nowhere to be seen. Vane was pacing about the porch as if he had lost something very important, while Volga sat beside a large pot that was suspended over sparkling fire. As he waited, Leo reached into his pocket for a fresh stick of doubly bubbly, before remembering it had all gone. He had eaten every last piece. Suddenly, something crashed and thrashed beyond the fence. This prompted Vane to pick up what looked like a dead rabbit and very carefully slide it through the gap in the cage beside him. In there was the Komodo dragon, which snatched the rabbit and scoffed it whole without so much as chewing. The hungry beast lashed out and spun around in its cage, stomping its feet victoriously. "Feisty today, aren't you?" Vane commented, and then he did the most unbelievable thing, moving his hand inside the cage itself and patting the beast's scaly neck. The mammoth monster headbutted the cage, its long tongue, so familiar to Leo now, curled out towards Vane's trouser leg. The man made a snarling sound, much like a dog might. "No more food, Daisy," he said, "but there is plenty of fresh live meat on the island." Fresh live meat? What? No, thought Leo, and he recoiled in horror. Sweat dripped from his forehead. He licked his lips and noticed his fists were clenched. He thought about standing up, but there was no way in the world he was going to move. Not now. He imagined the newspaper headlines. "Silly boy who should have stayed in bed, trapped on island and savaged by Komodo dragon." Vane and Volga were arguing now, though it was impossible to make out their words. Leo heard only the wind blowing through the jungle. He held his breath, curled into a ball, and tried his best to hide in the long wet grass. Suddenly he heard rustling nearby. He froze. It was all over. He was finished. Leo Wrigley was going to die, and no one would ever know he'd been here. "Hello, intrepid traveller." "Ah!" Leo's reaction. Only then did he realise who was standing behind him. "Are you okay?" Angela asked. Oh, I'm fine," Leo replied, his breathing quick and shallow. "I just thought you were... Oh, it doesn't matter." "Well, anyway, we both made it on time," said Angela. She moved closer to him, reaching for an envelope that stuck out of her pocket. "Leo, I feel so bad about lying to you," she said. "Lying to me?" "Do you remember on your first day when you asked me what the initials on your bed stood for?" "Oh, I do," said Leo. "You said it was like a passport." "I didn't exactly tell the truth," she said, passing Leo the envelope. Then she shone her torch on it. "Friendly Island staff receive this when they begin working here." Leo slowly pulled the letter from inside the envelope and began to read. "I couldn't lie to you again, Leo. You're too nice," said Angela. "You're good kids, all of you, and you deserve to know what's really happening on the island." Leo drank in the words, and very soon his tummy felt as if it were being turned inside out. Here is what the letter said. "Welcome to your new place of employment, Freakout Island, where chronically misbehaving children are sent to correct their naughty ways. Our promised appearance is that their child will be cured within 7 days, or they'll get their money back. Punishments will differ for each child, but please keep this document handy to remember how each child will suffer during happy hour. Remember too that it was the parents who came up with these sayings in the first place. We just made them come true." Current list of children. Leo, GS, gum swallower. Punishment, blow bubble out of his butt. Harriet, HC, hair chewer. Punishment, grow bird's nest. Eden, TB, thieving brat. Punishment, hands will be made of glue. Ricky, PM, potty mouth. Punishment, can only squawk, not talk. Felix, NP, nose picker. Punishment, brain will fall out. Leo felt the torch heat up his face. Angela sensed his confusion. I noticed you weren't at breakfast this morning. And lucky for you, because I know for a fact that Vain and Volga were planning to make the potion 5 times stronger. I saw them brewing the mixture the night you snuck out. You never took any, which is why your friends seem to have permanent symptoms, but you don't. What potion? Leo asked. The cogswoggle juice, Angela replied. What's that? It's from the cogswoggle tree, dummy. It's purple and sweet and delicious. Leo thought back to the wonderful purple drink and the purple powder Gilbert dropped and all of those cogswoggle cocktails his friends had drunk when he overslept. But what does it do? Leo asked. It's designed to give you deformations and stop your ghastly habits. Like picking our noses. Yes. And swallowing bubble gum and stealing? Yes, you got it. But today's happy hour was crazier than ever. My friend Felix doesn't even know where he is, and he's a brain box. As I said, I can't be sure, but I think Vain and Volga were so frustrated and angry that they upped the dosage. The effects seem to be lasting longer and are more severe. Leo stood up. He snapped a branch from a tree and began whipping the long grass with it. I don't get it, he said. This is supposed to be Friendly Island. Don't they want us to go home and tell everyone how cool this place is? To be honest, Leo, they're not worried what you think. They are just trying to get parents like yours to send their naughty kids here to correct their behaviour and pay Vain and Volga lots of money. But that's so dumb, because we'll all go back and tell our friends to never, ever come here. And if parents find out what really happens, they won't send their kids. And then Vain and Volga's stupid business will go down the toilet. Angela sighed and planted her face into her hands. That's if you make it back, she said. Crikey. As Leo's head hit the pillow, 3 realizations concerned him greatly. 1. There was absolutely nothing friendly about this island. 2. His dad had not read the fine print. 3. Aunt Margot had known exactly what she was doing. Okay, are you ready for chapter 16? Okay. Leo was late for breakfast again. When he arrived in the food hall, the other children were waiting, not just for him, but for Eden, who eventually staggered in looking like she hadn't slept in 100 years. Harriet hugged her and offered her a seat, but Eden instead chose to stand. Are you okay? Asked Harriet. Only just, Eden replied. Have you ever had to sleep in a toilet with your bum glued to the toilet, while insects crawled around the toilet all night? No, you haven't, and that's because you're all a bunch of toilets yourself. Eden, offered Leo, we're so sorry. We couldn't do anything. We tried, but we were told to go back to the super secret hut. Rock! Tried. Rock! Super. Rock! Secret. Rock! Shut up, you, said Eden. You can't even speak properly anymore. And what's the heck happening with your hair? She noticed Harriet's head. The children stopped talking when the Friendly Island workers arrived and began filling 3 large jugs right to the top with sparky purple liquid. Ricky reached for one with his hand that wasn't a bird's wing. Leave it, said Leo, gripping the other side of the jug, causing the liquid to spill onto the floor. "What are you, Rack? Do that. I'm thirsty, Rack," said Ricky. "Just don't," said Leo, pulling the jug towards him. "Who made you boss?" said Ricky. He snatched another jug from the end of the table and took a large swig of purple liquid right there on the spot. "Yeah, who made you king?" said Harriet, and she did exactly the same. The friendly island workers smiled and refilled the jugs. Leo sighed deeply and looked towards a silent Felix who was stroking his brain as if it were a puppy. How would Leo ever be able to explain this to anyone back at home, if he ever got there? Many explosions kept going off in his mind. "This island is a trap," he said. "What? Rack? A trap?" "Remember those initials on our beds?" He turned to Ricky. "PM? You thought it was for Prime Minister. Wrong. It stands for potty mouth." "How? Rack! Rude," replied Ricky. "I'm no Rack potty mouth." "I'm GS," Leo continued, who was now on a roll. "That means I'm a gum swallower." "Harriet, what are your initials?" "HC. Hair chewer." "Felix?" "You're wasting your time there," said Eden. "Felix," Leo said in a strong, loud voice, "put down your brain for a minute and listen." "Felix." Okay. "Eden, what were your initials?" TB, I think." "Thieving brat." "I beg your pardon. That's so incredibly rude." "Truth hurts," said Harriet. "Guys, please listen," whispered Leo. "This is not a friendly island. Those owners are evil. They're punishing us. It's a trap. And if we don't find a way to escape, we could all "Good news," boomed a voice that could only belong to one person. Vane had come up behind Leo and Felix and was resting a hand on each of their shoulders. "The Kaput 3000 has broken down," he said. "Rack! So good! Rack!" Leo squirmed away from the hand but turned to find the face of Volga. "I agree with Ricky," he added. "What's so good about the Kaput 3000 not working?" Volga attempted to smile, but she looked more like someone with a wasp stuck in Hang on, that caught me. Volga attempted to smile, but she looked more like someone with a wasp stuck in their knickers. "Silly question. You get to spend more time in paradise," she said. "Rack! Should be fun. Rack!" He said paradise is normally fun, Leo replied, and Ricky looked glum. "Could you please tell me the exact problem with the Kaput 3000? Vane appeared to be caught off guard, perhaps because he'd glimpsed himself in the kitchen window. He smoothed his hair back and smiled, appearing to like what he saw. "Sir," Leo persisted. "What, boy?" "What is the exact problem with the Kaput 3000, Leo asked. "Is it the engine? Is the cabin equipment damaged? Or is it a radar problem? Which one is it, please?" Volga cleared her throat and announced that all of the children's parents had been informed about the problem. "Which means you'll get another day at the beach," she said, and raised a glass of purple liquid. "Shall we celebrate with your favourite cocktail?" But Leo noticed she did not drink a single drop. When the children arrived at the beach, the friendly island workers opened their picnic baskets, revealing a huge feast and even more cogswoggled cocktails. But Leo tipped each bottle out onto the sand when the workers weren't looking. The children never noticed, nor did the staff. Leo had his own work to do. How are we doing for time? Have we got time for another chapter? Yeah? Okay. If there was one good thing about having a bubble for a butt, it was that you never had to find a seat. So once the children had arrived at Barefoot Beach, Leo sat in the sun and thought about what a fine mess he and his friends were in. His mum had always taught him to find the good in life, but as he watched his freakish friends, he decided life on Friendly Island was about as bad as it got. Thankfully, he'd managed to prevent another happy hour, but even that didn't seem to matter anymore. As Leo sat on his bubble, a fire burned inside him. The minutes ticked by, and he couldn't bear to think that other children around the world might one day be tricked into visiting Friendly Island. Therefore, Leo Wrigley was going to rescue everyone. But before he could get too excited, he had the most awful thought. He didn't have a partner. In the movies, Burp Lancaster always had someone on his team who thought up brilliant ways to escape, fight, or blow things up. But as Leo watched his friends, he felt his stomach drop like a broken elevator. Ricky could think, but he couldn't speak. Eden couldn't touch anything without being glued to it. And Felix? Well, that was obvious. Thankfully, the answer was standing right in front of him. "Harriet," he exclaimed, "it's up to me and you. We've got to get everyone safely home. Angela said these terrible things will keep happening to us. Vain and vulgar will never stop." "Angela? Your new girlfriend?" Eden asked. "Rock, rock, rock." "She just works here," yelled Leo. Okay, cool it," Harriet laughed. Leo found that he couldn't stop staring at her head. Ugh! Her nest was now covered in beetles, wriggling around beside a tiny baby bird. And what about her fingernails? They too were made of wood, and the tips of her ears had sprouted tiny branches with even tinier leaves. Was she turning into a tree? "Is there really a Komodo dragon?" "Yes, Ricky, there is," Leo replied. "I saw it." "So, if what you're saying is true," said Eden, "how are we going to escape, huh?" "Well, thank you for asking," Leo replied. "I've had an idea. Instead of going to Barefoot Beach after breakfast tomorrow morning, we sneak to the kitchen and Harriet bakes a cake. Rock, rock, rock. The workers won't rock us do that." "Angela will. She can cover for us," said Leo. "You mean your girlfriend?" Eden asked. "She's not my girlfriend." "Anyway," Harriet sighed. "So we sneak to the kitchen, I bake a cake, blah, blah, blah. Then what?" Leo raised his forefinger and grinned. "Aha," he said. "This is the good bit. I know where the Cogswoggle powder is kept. It's behind the red curtain by the kitchen bench. Harriet bakes the cake and we add lots of powder to the mixture. Then we invite Vain and Vulgar to try some cake. And when they do, Angela will ring the bell for us. Happy hour." "What will happen to Vain and Vulgar?" Harriet asked. "Hopefully bad things," Ricky grumbled. Felix mumbled. "Just put them over by the flowers. The wedding starts at 4, on the dot." "Okay, Felix," said Leo, beginning to feel sorry for his friend. "Hopefully awful things." Harriet folded her arms tightly. "And if they don't eat it?" she asked. "Vain loved your cake," Leo replied. "Remember last time? He ate 5 pieces." Harriet relaxed a little and offered a wonky grin. "And then what?" "We run from the kitchen and I fly everyone home on the Kaput 3000. "You?" everyone said at the same time. "I can do it," said Leo. "I can. You've got to trust me." "He does seem to know a lot about planes," said Eden. Harriet paused for a second before laughing out loud. "Brilliant," she said. "That'll teach him." She scratched her head with her wooden fingernails and the baby bird screeched loudly. "Ah, can we just do this now? I'll get rid of this hideous thing off my head." "Wait. When we get out of here, if we get out of here, I will lose this nest, right?" "Harriet, I don't know any more than you do," Leo replied. "I just know Vain and Vulgar aren't going to stop what they're doing to us." Harriet prodded Leo's pink bubblegum butt. "Ha! You might have that thing forever. At school, at parties. You'll never get a girlfriend." "Yuck! As if I want one," Leo replied, holding out his right hand. "Are you in?" Harriet shook his hand firmly. "I'm in," she said. "It'll be dangerous," said Leo. "I don't care," Harriet replied. "Like really dangerous." "I'm in." And that's where we're out. At chapter 18. How many more chapters still to go? 18, 20, 21, 21, okay? So, not that far to go. At least one more night. And then what do you reckon? Maybe we invite Justin in for a cup of tea, a piece of cake, without any cogswoggle powder, and a bit of a kōrero about the book. Would you like to do that? I know I would. I want to find out what was going on in his brain when he wrote this book. And I want to know what was going on in my brain when I forgot to sing It's Our Time, Kia ora, te lofa. Because it's time to sing the other song now. Okay, snuggle down if you're nice and comfy in your bed already, watching this in the evening. And if you're not, and you're about to head out into your day, maybe go and grab a copy of this. Find out more at Justin Christopher Author on Facebook and Instagram. Grab the paperback from Fishpond, the ebook from Amazon, and come back and join me tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, for the next chapter. Bum, bum, bum! Will they make it out of there alive? Or does the Komodo dragon come closer? See ya later, it's time to say goodbye. See ya later, I've really got to fly. See ya later, it's time for us to end for now. See ya later, back tomorrow again. Goodbye, my friend. See you soon.